We want to welcome you to All Things Real Estate, brought to you by the GK Group. Now, here are your hosts, Brad Avergon and Gary Kelley.
So, Brad, I want to ask you a question.
Shoot.
I know you've been in your house for some number of years now, okay?
Yeah?
Do you love your house? Because after all, it is that time of year. It's the time of year for love.
My wife loves this house. And happy wife, happy life. I like this house. I think it really works well for us, but I don't love my house. But my wife loves this house. She just loves it. She loves.
Well, what's not right with it? Are you not happy with the colors? You can change colors pretty easily.
I'm not affected as much by color. I don't worry about the colors so much. I want the house to be working, functional, and not break.
Because at the risk of being sexist, you let Cindy make the decisions on what the colors are going to be.
I absolutely do. We have that she rules in this area. She rules in this area on the colors. But truth be told, I can barely dress myself in the morning. You know, as Garanimal, giraffe. I know I'm okay color wise.
I was told once that I'm colorblind. Now I don't believe that that's the case, but that's what I was told. And I was living with someone that loved to, obsess over colors. And at the point in time she was obsessing, we lived on East Main Street up on the hill by Yeoman's Ice Cream. And she would go to the paint store and mix up like 16 cans of color. Cans! And then paint blotches on the wall. Okay, I mean, obviously she had a lot of passion for it. She would say to me, which one do you like? And I would say wisely, well, which one do you like? No. I want to know which one you'd like. So I pick a couple. And I get the death stare, you would. What the heck? Don't give me an option that you don't find tenable.
That's the trap. That's the trap that sometimes we fall into. It is funny. So, we were painting not too long ago, and my wife came home with a number of different shades of white, which basically looked all the same to me. Because you're looking at like those little tabby things, those little paper strips. She's like, which one's better? I said, which one do you think is better? They all look the same to me. They're all different shades of white. One's a little off white. One's a feather white. So anyway, I said, I'll tell you what, narrow it down to two. I'm much better with you give me A and B, and then I'll make a choice. Now, A and B may look identical to me, but I will make a choice because I committed to making a choice. And then automatically it will probably be the wrong choice and she'll go with the other color.
Right. There's a real estate coach by the name of Brian Buffini, and he says, coat of paint's one of the biggest things you can do to immediately upgrade a house. And you can do that. His expression is paint's $10 in the can, $1,000 on the wall. Yeah. And I think that's true. And the reason I wanted to talk about this wasn't so much to find out what you liked in your house, but to say the things that you do to a house, if you find it a little tired or you're not happy there, the things you do are often the things you do to prepare the house for sale. And I'm not pitching that you got to sell your house. What I'm pitching is sit back and say, you can't find a $10 gallon of paint anymore, but a can of Benjamin Moore up on the wall makes a big difference.
Yeah, I can see that. Have you ever had a client, just out of curiosity, where you came in and you said, listen, you need to do this, and this, paint, you need to paint, you need to shampoo the rugs, and you need to, I don't know, Murphy's Oil. I know you're a big Murphy's Oil.
I am. The everything cleaner that cleans everything cleaner.
So you need to Murphy's Oil soap your cabinets. Have you ever had them do that and then say, oh my gosh, this is like a new house. We love it.
Yes, and that's actually the backstory on this particular article or video that we're doing is sometimes when people do some very basic things to the house, it will make it look more presentable, and they will feel more comfortable there, because everything doesn't have to be sell your house and move on.
Right.
It just doesn't.
Right.
But
The
there
other
are
thing
things you can do. Like if the floor's, getting ratty, carpet tends to ugly out before it wears out. So if you're sitting there with that green carpet, you can replace carpet.
and it's not that expensive, is it?
Well, I don't think it's that expensive, but that's, my applying my financial perspective to their situation. What I would say to someone though is, before you, replace the carpet, what do you really want on the floor? Because a lot of people want hardwoods. Gotta have hardwoods. Well, some houses have hardwoods underneath the carpet, and they just don't know it till they pull up the carpet, and that makes a big difference. The other thing is, if people want to get, I don't suggest anyone get into putting down hardwoods. I just think that that's a lot of money. You can do it, but the other thing you could look at is doing a vinyl.
Yeah, that
Not,
LVL.
I don't like vinyl sheet goods. I'm into vinyl tile or vinyl. They call it luxury vinyl planking. I happen to think that makes sense. Now, is it the prettiest thing in the world all the time? No, it depends upon the grade that you get and how it looks on your floor. But if you have an area that is prone to getting wet, it makes more sense to put down luxury vinyl something than it does to put down hardwoods.
Or not even just, well, I guess you're prone to getting wet. Or if you have, I would imagine if you have pets that, especially an older pet that has accidents, you're probably better off putting down luxury vinyl than you are putting down hardwood, because if a pet has a little accident, and pees or such, and it can stain the hardwood, versus on LVL, the vinyl flooring, you can just quickly mop it up and it looks as good as new, right?
I'm looking around. I'm at Sue's house. Sue has 2 dogs. One of them is they're both the same age. They're older. One of them is actually beginning to have problems, and lots of time with the vet trying to figure out what the problems are. But going to the bathroom is one of those issues, and I'm looking to see where he is.
Yeah. So
He's
sorry,
highly
didn't mean to bring up a
suspect.
painful moment for you there, Gary.
Right.
But I mean, I think some of the things you're talking about make a lot of sense. The idea of redoing flooring, especially if you can confine it to one room, it's not that expensive, and and as you said, a can of paint can give it a whole new look. The other thing is that, I don't know. I we have a problem with clutter. Like we keep a lot of stuff that over time it builds up. And I think sometimes if you make a dedication to like remove clutter and either
Right.
box it up or get rid of it, it can free up a lot of space and really give it a good new look again.
Which is why the self-storage places are so in demand, because people take everything to the self-storage.
Right. Right. Until they never use it. They take it to the self-storage. They never use it. Maybe occasionally pick one thing out of there, but enough times, and then they eventually get rid of it all, probably. Right.
I've told the story before, but I remember my kids, when I moved out of my house, I had my kids come over and said, guys, we're going to go through everything in the house, and you either take it, I'll store it if you want, or we're going to get rid of it. So we had a dumpster, and it was quite the performance. 2 years later, I called them up and said, okay, guys, neither one of you have been to the storage facility, so you now either need to come and get it, or I'm going to toss it. Your choice. And my son, to his credit, did come pick up some stuff. My daughter, hey, just toss it all, which is fine. Whatever works for them.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's hard letting go. I'll remember we bought our first home, and at one point, shortly thereafter, not immediately, but shortly thereafter, my in-laws reached out and said, all that stuff we've been keeping up in the attic for you, time to come take it. So
Right.
you own a home now. Time to get rid of it. So you either gotta come and get it, and you either take it to your home and find a space for it, or you throw it in the garbage and say, "I really don't need this." And I think there's a lot of stuff that's like that. There's stuff that we think we need, or we're gonna go back to, and we'll never know. I'm waiting personally for double-breasted suits to come back in fashion. So I just want you to know that.
So your office is in the basement of your house.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And
I've got an office here and then one in Newton, a regular office, but this is easier. I work out of my home.
I was talking about the one you're sitting in this moment.
This is my basement office, yes.
And so, do you have any unfinished concrete around down there?
Not on, this is the finished side. I have an unfinished side that we use for storage, yes, and that has unfinished concrete.
And my view is if you've got unfinished concrete, one way to spiff that appearance is to paint it.
When are you coming over to do that?
Yeah. Well,
no, I think that's a great idea.
When I was selling my condo, I had never painted the garage floor, but I always liked the look of the finished garage floor. I just think it's a nice, clean appearance. And what happened to me is I had a kid come over. I had gotten a storage container. I put the storage container in the street and had the kid start to load it up. And then one of the neighbors goes berserk. What are you doing with the storage container? You have no business putting it on the street, blah, 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 blah. It was bad. It's like, what are you talking about? Well, why is this really bothering you? It wasn't like it was going to be there forever. And he understood that because it was clear that I was clearing out the garage and he didn't necessarily know I was going to paint it. But it became a big, big, big fight. And so rather than fight, I ended up calling a painting company to come run a grinder down there and then throw it away, and then paint it, not throw it away, and then put everything back in the garage. I was like, come on, guy. It cost me some real money that I didn't need to spend.
Right.
So, Brad, I think we're going to take a break now. We got to pay some bills.
Okay.
I'm going to let the break go a little longer, which people watching it won't know, because last time Keith couldn't find where the break was. So we're going to take a break right now.
See you on the other side.
Thank you for watching All Things Real Estate. We'll be right back.